It was June 2020. I was actually at my parents' farm for the day swimming, and they have a big highway in front of their home. And I noticed that there was a dog out on the highway, and she was going to be hit. And so, of course, I ran out there and I got Maggie off the highway. And I didn't, at that point, I had gotten on social media when I got her off the highway. And I said, hey, I just found this husky, which I thought she was a husky at the time. She was a Malamute. I found this husky, this anybody's husky, and had put it on social media. Immediately, I started getting messages from her previous people's neighbors that were telling me how abused she was. They had seen her be kicked in the stomach, hit over her back with poles. She's completely neglected. They put her on a crude rope and never let her off. She was in a garage 24/7 in a hot garage, never been brushed. And these are all like witness accounts from people that live near her, near this dog. And so at that point, the previous person came to my house, and she was having nothing about it. She did not want to go with him. And at this point, I didn't realize how, like, I was getting these messages, but I hadn't noticed how abused and neglected she, like, it was still new. And so she tried to bite him. You could tell that she did not want to go with him. And at that point, he looks at me and he said, in cuss words, but he said, I don't give a crap. She can die on the road. I'm out. And he just left. And so at that point, I called my husband and was like, hey, hey, we already have, 5 animals. And he was like, absolutely not. Do not bring her home. And of course, my heart was like, yes, I'm bringing her home. And because for one, I had seen her be reactive to this person. So I just knew animal control would kill her. She's big. She has trauma. You know what I mean? Like, I just couldn't possibly do that. So it was really, really hot. And I took her home. I let her in the house, and immediately she ran upstairs into the bed with my husband. And that's all she wrote about that relationship with him. It was like almost like they knew each other from another life. She was terribly matted. I mean, when I say I don't think they used a brush, I truly mean that. So after the first night we started seeing, we noticed some things. The matting was so horrific that she was panting uncontrollably. She couldn't eat. She was in so much pain. As we started, at first we tried to get the fur off of her, but she was reactive. She was in a lot of pain. So we called a groomer and got them to take the fur off of her, which they couldn't save much. They could save basically like the lion's mane of her head. So, yeah. And when you take a dog on that has trauma and abuse and neglect, they're going to come with things. They're going to come with issues. And so we just took it one day at a time in the beginning. We definitely protected my daughter because we didn't know. It's not that she was reactive to people, we just didn't know. So we were just very protective of my daughter. So we would train Maggie and my daughter between gates. You know what it was? We asked my daughter. So we said, listen, Matt, this dog has a lot of trauma from neglect and abuse, and we don't know how reactive she is. We just don't know right now. Do you want us to send her off? Because we wanted my daughter to always feel safe. And my daughter said the coolest thing. She said, if there was a person that was traumatized with abuse and neglect, would you send them off, Mommy? And that was it. That was it. She became a permanent part of our family. It took years. Yeah, and it's taken years for her to heal. It's all about them healing. It's all about them, a dog not being defined by their broken pieces and giving them time and grace to heal the way they need to heal. I really, and with, when you give them love and patience and trust, she just healed so beautifully. Malamutes are so like complex personality. They're just more than any other dog I've ever had. It is like having a child. They're very sensitive. They're sassy. They talk back. You know what I mean? They're ornery. They're just like a toddler. So it's like, I only have one daughter, but it's like almost having two.